Today, Disha will be taking the class and leading the discussion. Welcome, Disha, and good morning to everyone. Today, Disha will.
Thank you, Madhvi. Thank you, Madhvi Garu. Hello, everyone, and thanks for this opportunity. We are doing this book, You Forever, from like it's been long time, and we have reached on lesson 14. Today's lesson is very short, but it is very important to understand the small things to grow on a spiritual level.
Disha,
So,
one thing, Disha, do you
yeah.
want to come on the video?
No, that is good. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking. So I'll just give you a little brief before starting the chapter. This chapter is telling about the charity, which is an integral part of the spirituality. So it is defining the lots of aspects about charity, which is called as a give, as alms, or begging. Anything we can define it in a different words here. So the author is saying all of us are anxious to get things done for us, to get things to get things given to us. Probably everyone would admit to having prayed for assistance. So he is defining that we do prayers to get the things, and it's a in our daily thing. We ask something or other to God or to Almighty or a divine force, whatever we call. Probably everyone would admit to having prayed for assistance. It is, of course, a natural thing in human affairs to want the assistance of someone else. Man feels insecure alone and wants the Godfather image or the mother image in order that he may feel protected, may feel that he's one of the great family. But in order that one may receive, one must he should give it first to before receiving it. So you cannot receive without giving. For the act of giving, the attitude of opening the mind makes it possible for you to receptive to those who are willing to give what you want to receive. When you say give, we do not necessarily mean money, although it is usual to give money, because that to most people is that they desire above all else. So here first he is describing that the importance of giving, because when we are praying for asking, and it's a give and take thing. It's so many proverbs are there, like what we so shall we reap, and so many proverbs are there. So that's where we say what we want first we have to give, and it's definitely what we give we get in a multifolds. It's not on in the same amount. Now when we talk about the giving, the first thing comes in our mind is money, to give the money. But if we go later, we see that money is not the only thing we can give to others. Money is important, definitely, because money is when you have money, you are secure, you feel secure. That is the base of the money. It's a security from want, it is a relief from the fear of starvation, and it is the freedom from the visits of the debt collectors. Money can be given and must be given under certain conditions, but give also means to give of oneself, to be willing to be of service to others. We can and must give money or goods or assistance or spiritual consolation to those who need them. Again, unless we give, we cannot receive. And we know that that is the one of the pillar of our PSSM motion moment, that service, selfless service we have to do at whatever extent and in or whatever way. Not even money, we can give our services, we can give our time, that all counts in a giving. So there is Much misconception about give, begging, and similar matter related to so-called charity. So now in Western, we are all here in Western world, so we call it charity. But if we go back to India time, and even today also in India, it's called as the alms. It's called as a give, and we have seen that the sadhu babas, like the, not, we should not say them to the beggars, they come to our houses and we give them food, not money, we gave them alms. So he's the author is comparing the charity to the alms, like what we call it in the India, that in a Eastern world is different here in terms of charity. It seems that people imagine that there is something shameful, something degrading in having to solicit assistance from another one. But this is definitely not the case. Money is merely a commodity which is lent to us while upon the earth. It is the commodity with which we can buy happiness and self advancement. And this is, we are learning every day that we all are after money at some extent, where and we are not into the spiritual world. Everybody, when we realize the spirituality, these things are secondary to us. But the money, we want luxury, for that we want money. And everybody says that you cannot get, you will not get anything, um, like when you go, leave this river of the world, you are not going to get a single penny with yourself. Even still we are knowing that thing, we are running after money. So that is the base. He's saying that by happiness and self advancement, by helping others with that money instead of hoarding it uselessly in some dead stone vault. This, unfortunately, is the world of commerce, where a man's measure is taken by the money that he has in the bank, in his bank. So, obviously, in this today's materialistic world, the worth of a person is shown by the bank balance of the person, like how much he carries in his bank. And also, he's saying that the fleshly dressed man or a woman who gives for his own satisfaction, and that is the show, like what is the status of us in the society. To build up a false facade is not a spiritual man nor a generous man. He is a man who is spending without any thought of giving. He is spending selfishly, that his own ego may be blustered. In the Western world, a man is judged by his by how well his wife dressed, what sort of car he drives, what sort of house he occupies. Does he belong to that or this club? So there are millionaire clubs, we know that, and if you are a millionaire, you should belong to that club. This is a thought process of the common man. And again, this is a world of false values. For let us repeat it endlessly so that it sinks into your subconscious. No man or woman has ever succeeded in taking even one penny or a one pin or a even a spent match beyond the river of death. All that we can take is that contained within our knowledge. All that we can take is the sum total of our experiences, whether good or bad, generous and mean, which will be distilled down so that only the essence of those experiences remains. And the man who lived for himself alone upon the earth, although upon the earth he was perhaps a millionaire, when he goes to the other side, he will be a spiritual bankrupt. So he is explaining the thing which I told you already, that in a river of that, we are not going to take any materialistic thing, but definitely we are carrying our knowledge. We are going to take our experiences with us when we go to the other worlds. So if you are only just after money, you will be bankrupt in terms of spirituality if you go to the other world. So better collecting money, collect the knowledge, collect the experiences. In the East, I just gave a pause. If somebody, anyone has a question or want to discuss on this point, we can discuss here.
Yeah, I would want to say a couple of things here. As Disha pointed out, I mean, many times, like before coming into spirituality, we always used to think that helping others is only by giving money. I think that is what giving money or giving them the job and things like that. But here he talks about how you can help a person to grow spiritually. And many times he's saying that, like, oh, money cannot be taken when you are when you are dead, and then like when you go to the other side of the thing. I mean, did anybody felt like the same thing, or you guys knew that?
Yes, Madhuri, I'd like to add. Me too, after coming into the spiritual learning, I have learned that giving, as we knew, is not the same. And like you said, money really, actually, they discourage us from giving money in the spirit. It's spiritual knowledge that if we can help them spread, give them spiritual knowledge, that will be the best way of giving. And they caution us because you may gain karma, by giving the money, like, that they don't deserve or whatever it is. So we need to be very careful in how we give and how we help others. Because there was something, I don't know, in another group that I am, there was discussion about blood donation, which many people consider very, nice to give it and help, but they caution us not to give. So if anyone wants to discuss more on that, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but different ways to look at it, right? Like, I mean, like when you feel that it is something that you have to give, then it is okay to give, like blood donation. I mean, it is the fact that somebody is asking you is something that you need to consider. It is more like the request has come to you. So do you want to ignore it, or do you want to take it? That is one thing. And it's all up to the conscious level of a person. Sometimes, like, if your family is in need of blood, then you can say no because it's your karma. And I guess it is like goes situation by situation.
True. I'm still trying to understand. I know. I just brought it up
Yeah,
because I heard
I
it
know it
very
is.
strongly.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to also bring up is, I don't know if I have heard that in some religions, I think especially Muslim religion or something, it is there like part of their religion that they have to donate, like, part of their salary, no matter what. So I thought that was very, generous and very nice thing to build it into the thing, which I think, yeah, as when you give only, you learn the value of money or anything that you have, service or money. And in Gurudwara too, all of them there, Golden Temple, they go and give their services. So I think giving in that perspective is really what we need to look at.
Agreed.
Kumari
Garu, your voice is really breaking, Kumari Garu. Either you have to fix it.
ఇప్పుడు
ఇప్పుడు బాగుందండి. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Okay. Regarding blood donation, I would like to add one thing before Kumari garu. Sorry, Andy. I guess if our family is in need, or any near and dear ones are in need, and they are asking for help, or we feel obligated towards our family, then I guess it is okay. But people donate blood every 3 months, or whenever there is a blood donation booth, people donate, right? I guess that is when one of our senior masters said, that is not a good thing. I understand why it is not a good thing is blood can't be stored for more than a certain time. So if that is reached to the certain people in that time, well and good. But if that is not happening, then it is going waste, right? Because I understand a lot of times blood goes waste before its expiration date. And the other thing to it is, uh, I guess our emotions are stored in our blood as well. So if we do not know whose blood we are taking, right, what is their emotional state at that time. So anyhow, if a person needs blood, that means they are in distress at that time. If we are taking someone's blood whom we know is much better than taking someone whom we do not know at all. At least that is what is my understanding.
Thanks,
I mean,
Madhuri,
like it
for
is an
adding.
arguable thing, like if you say that, then
No,
like
this is all my insight. It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
mine. Yeah.
No, I mean, like when I went to one of the pranic healers, she heals the people with her energy, right? So I asked her, "Are you not getting into the line of karma?" And then she said she has given me two examples. One is like I'm not going there and then asking them to get healed. They are coming to me. So when the karma, whatever the karma that they are going through, if it has been fulfilled or if it has been completed, then they will come to me. And the other thing that she told me is, like uh, many times when to the friends who are suffering, she informs them, but they don't come because their karma hasn't gone through. So I guess it is all the, as I said before also, it is up to the person whether at that particular moment, whether they want to do that help or gesture.
Yeah,
That is,
because you remember when heart transplantation or transplantations happen, some
Mhm.
are success, some are failure. That is because some accept, some do not accept, right? Like some people's body accept, some people's body don't accept. And apart from that, we have seen sometimes, the emotions what the other person heart has gone through, those pass on to the recipient also. That is when I understood, oh, okay, when a transplantation is happening, it is not, we cannot feel it like, putting a peacemaker or something like that. It is not like that. It's not an external uh, material or a part, right? It is body part which has emotions, feelings, and everything that we are taking. So that impact will be on us. If we are ready for that, well and good. But if not,
Mhm.
that is the caution that we need to take. I guess that is why people, masters, deteriorate us from doing that. And as you said, healing, I heard that people who are healers, you know if it is our life purpose, if it is my life purpose to become a healer, I in this lifetime I want to be a healer, I want to heal people, if that is my purpose of life, then I should definitely do it. But as you said, when people come to us for help, that is when we should do it.
Hmm. And
Alage blood also, when people are asking for blood, if we are doing well, no problem. But we are going and donating blood out of our own thing, that is when we have to think about whether to do it or not, I guess.
I think I will, with one of this point, I'll just end like in Paramhamsa Yogananda, the Lahiri Mahashaya has said that to Paramhamsa Yogananda is like, uh, I think if you guys, I'll just give you an example. Lahiri Mahashaya, Paramhamsa was about to kill a mosquito. So then he didn't kill because he thought that it is something wrong thing that he's doing it. So the Lahiri Mahashaya is the guru of Paramhamsa Yogananda. He says that the fact that you already wanted to kill the mosquito is as good as killing the mosquito, right? So then he gives Paramhamsa asks a question. So Guruji, if a snake bites, should or if the snake is coming near me, or if the tiger is coming and trying to kill me, should I protect myself, or should I leave it because it is killing an animal, or killing the animal is not advisable, and it's the karma that I did? Then what he says is, in any of the species in this whole entire universe, the human life is the most precious thing. So for you to survive, if we have to kill an animal, it is okay, because that is what the preciousness of the human life is. And then that's what he says. And then, like, I guess, as we all talk about, it comes situation by situation, and we will leave it up to the people what is right for you guys. Kumari garu, do
Very
you
true.
want to say
Thank you.
anything, Andy?
నమస్కారం అండి అందరికి. నేను చెప్పాలని అనుకున్నది ఏంటంటే,
Auntie, this is
whenever
in English, Auntie. If you can talk in English.
I'm sorry. Whenever okay, I'm going to talk in English. Whenever there is a need for us to help, wherever and whenever there is a need for us to help, you have to help, not because of punyam, not because of the other side, expecting rewards from the other side when we die. Nothing. You are a human being. You just like you, the other person is a human, or other person is other thing is a living thing. Wherever there is a distress, wherever there is a need, a human being must get up and just don't think about other things and do the help whichever you can within your capacity. That is the best thing you have to think. And she was saying about heart emotions. Physical heart doesn't have emotions. Physical blood doesn't have emotions. It's made of chemistry, physical chemicals, and heart is made of muscles, and it is a pumping station. So as far as I know, and I asked some heart specialists also recently, whether when they do the surgery, do they see the person's, they do the surgery on a murderer as well as a saint or a saintly person. I asked them whether they see the difference in the structure of the heart or the blood vessels or anything like that. Blood is blood in any being. Same components, hemoglobin, white cells, red blood cells, and the things we eat, the oxygen we breathe in, it is immaterial not to give blood or not to take blood when it is needed for the sake of emotions. Emotions don't pass through the blood. Maybe genetically some things may pass through, but it is not going to, emotions are not, and the bad feelings or the bad attitude of somebody else and good attitude of somebody else is not going to pass through blood transfusion. Please, if you can give blood when there is like pandemic, there was a lot of blood scarcity. At that time, you needed to give blood. If I was at that age, I would have given blood. And I had blood transfusion for some surgery, but I did okay. I didn't care. My emotions didn't change. My physical structure didn't change. Nothing. I'm just as before as the blood transfusion. So please, and another thing I want to tell you is, please teach your children to be generous, especially our people here. They all have good homes. They all go to work and come back. They are all not very highly paid, but manageable salaries. And children grow up not with difficulties for water or for food or for school or clothing or shoes or anything like that. They don't see poverty at all in their life. Isn't it true?
Very true, Andy. What you said is true. Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on, and we'll keep the discussion, more discussion to the futures.
yeah, they're not.
This is very debatable part. If we keep talking, I know the whole day can go on that
No, no,
perspective.
I'm not going to talk. This is very important for children, especially when you are raising children here. You need
No,
to.
Kumari Garu, we have to complete the chapter. So
Yes,
there are a
Kumari
lot
Garu,
of.
we'll continue this discussion after the chapter is done. Definitely, we'll do that. We'll
Okay, thank.
whatever points that you said is totally agree with you on that. But
Yeah.
let's finish the chapter and then we can have the discussion more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
So now after this, the author is telling how the sages are in India, how sages come to our house and get the alms or they bag. So he's describing all that thing here. In the East, it is common sight indeed for a housewife to go to her door at the close of day and find there the robed monk with his hummel bagging ball. Here, this is so much a part of life in the East that every housewife sees to it, no matter how poor she may be, that she has food to spare for the monk who depends upon her generosity. It is considered an honor indeed to the house that a monk should call for sustenance. But contrary to common belief in the West, a man is not just a monk is just they see it monk as just a parasite or a beggar. He is not a shiftless man who is afraid to work and so lives on the bounty of others. Do you know what it is like? These evenings scenes in the East. So he's comparing the both scenes, like how it can be seen in the Western world and how we see in the Eastern world. Let us assume that we are looking down in the East upon some countries such as India, where this process of giving to the monk is common indeed. And he's saying that in China it was common, but after the communist has come into the power, the scenario has been changed. Now he's giving the whole picture of the day, a one day, a beautiful day when how the all nature is there and one monk is coming in his robe. He's wearing a robe and coming to a house, and he's describing how what he is wearing. He's in his robe and he's just wearing the sandals in his feet and carrying a rosary slung across his shoulder. He has his blanket. Now he's describing all his full life possession. So he doesn't have anything. He is carrying all his possession with him wherever he goes, because this monk is not sitting at one place or he's keep moving from place to place and he's seeing places. So he carries his all possessions along with himself, and he's carrying that blanket which serves him as a bed. So if we compare this to ourselves, if we are going for a small vacation, how much we carry, how much preparation we do for ourselves. So that all reminds me when I was reading that. But literally, if we compare to the monk, he doesn't possess anything. He just have a shoes to wear. He has a staff, and that staff is not to kill others or to do anything, any wrong thing. Is he is explaining that the staff he carries with him is to first to clean if any twig or anything comes in his way, he just move it aside with that. And other usage of that staff is he's checking the depth of the water. If he has to cross the water body somewhere, so he checked the how deep it is. So that's what he's explaining everything in this whole paragraph. Now he's saying that the woman of the house feels that she and her house, yeah, in this paragraph, he is explaining to whoever house the monk is going, that whole family feel blessed. They never feel burdened. I'm sorry, just a minute. Yeah. Sorry for that. So he's saying that it was a kind of a respect for that family. The monk is coming, and the lady who cooked the food, uh, uh, she feels that that her food was tasty, and that's why some monk has tasted and got that from her home, and then the other monk has recommended that food of her, and that's why she's getting the other monks to her door. And she's also the author is also explaining that might be their neighbors or the people around her feel jealous that why all the monks are coming to their door. And he also explained it doesn't matter how rich or how poor the family is, it is always they keep some food for to give. So that's what he's uh, saying. Now, once the monk has got the alms, and he explained that when the monk is coming to the door, the lady comes out of the door and she just gave the alms without looking at the face of the monk. It is because of paying the regard. It is the like we also do respect to our elders, that we never look into their eyes directly when we talk to them. We look down. It's not like we feel degraded or something. It's a kind of a respect. The another thing the author has explained, that the monk is holding the bowl in with both hands, because in our culture the food is so precious. We um, consider it as an anna devta. It's kind of a devta that we should not disrespect. So we are not holding with one hand to show our respect. The monk is holding the bowl with both hands to show the respect and gratitude towards the food. So that's all in this in these two paragraphs he has explained. Now he says it should be explained that the monk who has this food does not necessarily feel overcome with gratitude. Through time immemorial, a way of life has arisen in the East. A monk is fed as a right. He is not a beggar, not a burden. He is not a shiftless man, nor a parasite. And I just share my experience. I was in New York, and in the New York, there are places where the beggars are like, no, we call them as a homeless people. And it's very people see them in a with a very um, uh, I'm not going to use that word, that is a very strong word, a kind of hatred, but yes, the shamelessness and lots of negative emotions. And he's comparing that, like how different it is in the Eastern world when the monk is coming to get the alms. So during the day before the evening meal, the monk will have been sitting for hours beneath a tree. Now, once the monk has got the food, he just go under a tree and sit there, finishes his food and clean his bowl. And he's also explaining that the monk eat limited, not full of stomach, and he's not eating very rich food, because in spirituality the rich, like the fried and heavy food, is not considered to be good in spirituality, because they can be the blockages in our spirituality. And I say that when we meditate, we also eat light. Whenever we are eating heavy food, we won't feel that kind of intense, like we will not go into the deep into meditation. So that I compare it with that. So during the day before the evening meal, the monk will have been sitting for hours beneath a tree. Now this is where he's explaining like how monk gave the services, his services to the people from whom he gets the elm, and not to whom, to everyone. So after finishing his food and everything, he sits under the tree for a long time, and he is there, and people come to them for different services. Services like one who is looking for the spiritual advancement, they come to him and ask questions, and whoever needs the spiritual solace, they get his help. And also he's keep moving from one place to another. So sometimes people come to him to get the news of their relatives who are living at different places, and monk freely give them those kind of news. And these monks are well educated people, so they know how to read and write perfectly. So people come to them to get the letter written from the monk. And also sometimes people come to him when like either they are ill themselves or their relatives are ill, so they come to seek assistance from the monk. And uh, these kind of services the monk gives. For a monk is always on the move, walking from town to town, from city to city, traversing the countryside, crossing the land from border to border. And the monk gives his services free, no matter what is wanted of him, no matter how long the service demanded takes, it is free. He is a holy man, an educated man. He knows that many of the villagers who need help, and help that he willingly proffers, cannot pay him. They are too poor. Wherefore, it is right and just that as he has to study for his knowledge, and he brings spiritual consolation to people, he has not the time nor the right to work. Now why he is this question arises, like why the monk is asking for alms and food from one place, from one house to other house, and he's keep moving. Because if you once you are a monk, you there's a um, rule that they cannot work for their own living. So that is the thing. That's why, therefore, now he's the author is explaining, because now he's become a monk and he cannot do the work as the common man do the work for their survival. Then it is the duty of the society and the privilege and the honor that those whom he has assisted shall in their turn assist him and pay to some small extent with food, which he has to keep his body and soul together. And now I explained all that already, that after his meal, the monk will rest a while, and then rising to his feet and cleaning his bowl with fine sand, he will pick up his staff and stride off into the night, often traveling beneath the light of a brilliant tropical moon. Now, the author is explaining it here that monk doesn't need more sleep. So they travel in the night. They need very little sleep. And for meditators also, Patriji says that the meditators need less sleep because they are recovering their energy in the meditation. We too shall be willing to give in order that we may receive. In the days of long ago, it was divine law that all man should give. Now, this paragraph will explain, which I remember one of the attendees has said that it was a rule in many cultures that they have to give the some particular amount of their earning. And I remember in my house also, my grandfather and whatever the earning they had, though it was very less what we are having right now, they were always giving us some part of their earning and to the needy. So that's what it was. Author explained that it was a law in the days of long ago. It was a divine law that all man should give a tenth of their possessions, that good may there be wrought. The tenth become that tenth part was called as a uh, uh, teeth, and soon it became an integral part of the life. In England, for example, the church could levy a teeth on all property, on everything that a person possessed. This money was devoted to the upkeep of the church and provided the stipend of the incumbents to the living. it is interesting to note that some 10 years ago in England, there were a number of law cases where hereditary landlords made a great commotion in the law courts of the land in order that the teeth imposed by the Church of England should be set aside. The hereditary landlords were complaining that having to pay a tenth of their income was ruining them. Actually, they were being ruined by not giving willingly. For unless one gives willingly, it is better not to give at all. Nowadays, standards are rather different from what they were years ago. No longer people live on teeth, nor do they pay the teeth, and that is a pity. It is essential that if one is going to progress spiritually, one shall give the 10th part for good of others, especially as for the good of others brings much good to oneself. In short, we can only progress and be helped if we help others. We are aware of a number of very hard-headed businessmen. Now, I will just pause it here, and we can talk about that giving part of the 10th part of your income to the needies. I will share my part. I remember when I was very young, whenever we were going to any temple or something, some religious places, we like the Gurudwara, we were giving, like my grandparents were giving some money in my hand to put it, like all kids, not only to me. If we were five kids they are visiting, they gave some money in all the kids' hands, and we were putting that money into the box. There was a box that is called Dan Peti kind of. And as the Kumari Garu was saying, this is the same thing we have inculcated from our elders, and we are trying to teach these things to our kids. So if anybody wants to share anything on this part of the chapter.
Very well explained, Disha ji. I just wanted to ask, you mentioned that teeth, which culture is it? Where is that place?
Oh, it is in England, they said. Like in England, it was compulsory to give. Like here, I remember in Momdans, it is compulsory till now. And in our culture, we go to temple and we give, but it's not necessary. It's not mandatory. And that law has been taken away because when it imposes on all the areas, like all lands, so that seems to be big to the wealthy people. Like this is a lot to give, so that has been cancelled after that. That law has been most welcome.
Yeah, actually nowadays also in the churches here, they have to give it to the father, this much amount of money. It's like mandatory that they have to give.
Yes, in churches, because I have lots of Catholic friends, I know it's mandatory to them to give their one part of their earnings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, as you said, Disha, like in my childhood, when we were growing up also, my parents used to keep, like, I don't know how much it was, but part of the, some percentage of their earnings, they used to give it to the temples, or like for any divine things that we do. Like mainly we used to go to Tirupati, Tirumala, and then all the offerings have been given to the god by the end of the trip, and then put it in the hundi, and then come. And not recently, but a few months or years back, I also started, like we should, do something for the good causes. And then every month from our income, we are also trying to keep things away, so that way, like if there is anything that comes up, we can help people, or we can do something good for the society.
Right.
Yeah, in our houses also they have that hundi sort of a thing, so every week we just keep aside some money, and whatever occasion, like if for example any promotion or bonus, anything, so we keep that extra money that time. Any celebration, anything, we just put some extra money in that and we take that to this one. Not only that, but whenever we used to go for like really spiritual places or some other places like Mantralaya, whatever, we go to those chowdhuries. They used to have that Annadanam. Mostly in India, in all the places they have that these things, right? Annadanam. So usually we pay there in the Annadanam. For whenever we go to any other temples like that, we used to pay for that. So yeah, it is still being followed in India, and it is good that we also inculcate here. That is good. Yeah. Thank you.
I have some
Okay.
points, but I will discuss it at the end of the chapter because these are little controversial points. So, but let's.
Can I add something? But it is very different from what everyone has been talking here. And this is what happened in my life. Like my father, he being the eldest son, he has 3 siblings, and his parents are farmers. So what he thought is, my service is to my family, and he took care of his brothers and sisters and his parents, and whatever they needed in their life, or whenever he thought they need not come and ask him, he used to always watch over them. And whenever he felt the need, he said, uh, I can see God in people. I need not go to, he really doesn't believe much in God. He says, I need not go to temple. Everyone is God. I can see God in people. If I help people, that means it is his belief, but that is what happened in my life. That's what I would like
That's
to share.
absolutely wonderful. No, it is great. Like seeing God, that is ultimate enlightenment. We have to see God in each and every other person. That is what we are all striving for. So it's
Yeah.
wonderful, Madhu.
Yeah, and whenever anyone came from the village for a job or anything, he used to, ask in his company or the beside company, do you have anything that this person needs help? Can you? And he used to ask and put that person in some or the other place. And that gesture he used to do for everyone who came for help. He didn't go to temples at all. He never took me to Tirupati.
Actually, talking of that, I mean, I just pointed out what Disha was asking. Right now, my dad has passed away like 12 years ago. But still, when my cousins go, I mean, one of my cousin does, medical camps to the villages. And we live in a town. We used to live in a town. And then now also, those people remember my dad saying that your dad, I mean, everybody thinks that my cousin is me. So they think that I am Patiraj Gopal's daughter. But they still remember him because what good he has done, how he has helped the people, not only in the town, but in and around the villages. It's all the good things. I guess it is because to remember a person after death also, I felt like when last time when I went to India, she told me, and I felt good. That is what we need to leave the legacy when we leave this earth. People should remember for the good things that we have done rather than for the
At the same time, we shouldn't do good expecting anything, but selflessly we have to do, and in that process whatever has to come will anyhow come.
Yeah, that's what I guess
Yeah, that is
my
the
dad
next
did.
portion.
Yeah.
That is the next portion of this chapter. So let's continue.
Agreed. Yes, Disha. Go ahead,
Go
Disha.
ahead, Disha. I have
Yeah.
one more thing to add, but towards the end I will add.
Yeah, I know we can discuss it. These all things once we finish the chapter because lots of things are already covered in the chapter. Now he explained that some
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Disha. We'll
yeah
discuss it in the end. We're almost running out of time.
yes. So he has explained that it was a law that that teeth we have to give from our earnings. Now it has been stopped, but he's pointing the exact point which I want to discuss at the end of the chapter. He's saying money lenders, who in some part of the world are referred to as financial corporations, are not always noted for spirituality nor for generosity. And it seems to us that if even one of these moneylender financier gentlemen has sufficient faith in teaching, then there must indeed be something very profitable in the scheme. And we know that many hard-headed businessmen do just this. The occult law applies to the unspiritual um, as much as they do to the spiritual. It does not matter if a person studies a lot and reads a lot of spiritual books, that does not make a person spiritual. He might be just reading and deluging himself into thinking he is spiritual. The matter which he is reading may pass straight through his eyes and vanish into thin air without having once impinged upon the memory cell of his brain. Yet this person will refer to himself as a great soul and really believe that he is making progress. Actually, he is usually very self-righteous and very unwilling to help others, even though in helping others, he would greatly help himself. So I will just, this is the last page and I will complete it and we can discuss whatever questions we have at here. We repeat again that it is right and proper and profitable that a person shall give help to others. Incidentally, it is very helpful to the person who gives. Teeth means, as we have said, a tenth. It also means a way of life because if one gives, one also receives. We have in mind as we write a person who has given much help, much assistance, help and assistance which cost money, time, and specialized knowledge. As fast as one trouble was cleared up for that person, other troubles descended like a flock of starlings in the newly seeded field. We said, in order to receive, one must first give. The person who most offended and gave us to understand that he was most generous and did everything possible to help others as a now the interesting part comes here. Um, to help others as the local newspaper would attest. On contention is that if a person has to have good deeds reported in the local newspapers, then that person is not giving in a correct way. So this is the one point I want to discuss. Let's complete the last paragraph and we'll we'll open the portal then for discussion. There are many ways in which we can give. We can, in addition to devoting a tenth of our income to good work, help others in their spiritual needs or help them by the necessary consolation when they fall upon evil times. In giving to others, we give unto ourselves. Just as a business must have a good turnover in order that business may prosper, so must we have a good turnover of giving in order that we may receive. We must give it to help others. We must give in order that we may be helped. It is useless to pray that something be given to you unless you first show that you are worthy by giving to those who need it. Practice it. Practice giving. Decide how much you can give, what you can give, and how, and having worked out how and why and when, put it into practice. Try it for 3 months. You will find that at the end of 3 months, you are in pocket, either spiritually or financially, or both. Will you study this and study it again? And remember, give that ye may receive. Cast your bread upon the waters. So this is the end of the chapter, and we can open the portal for the discussion.
Thank you, Disha, for explaining it nicely and stopping it when it is needed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for
And
listening.
also on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
have
want to
one thing.
share one
Oh, go ahead.
experience when in India this episode has happened for the oxygen, and everybody was trying to help India, and lots of people have already sent the oxygen concentrators from here, and I was seeing like I belong to a lot of charity organizations which belong to India, and they were asking like we should help, and I was very skeptical. Like in nowadays it's very difficult to analyze the what we are giving is reaching to the right people or not, or it is vanishing in the middle way. So one first point was that, and second point, everybody was putting all that concentrators, oxygen concentrator pictures, and making their status, even big organizations also. So that was very kind of like questionable for me. But I never discuss these things to anyone, because what I understand, whatever everybody is doing, it's not I have to be judgmental for that. What I can do, I should explain and be ready to explain to others what I do. So that is what I wanted to share.
Yeah. See, there is, as the author mentioned in the last few pages, like in Telugu, there is Gupta Danam, right?
Yes.
Like where you give the service to the people, or you donate to the people, and you don't have to tell them that you have donated. I mean, like as he said, like it doesn't has to come in the newspaper. In fact, a lot of people will donate, but they don't even tell to your own family members. It is because they are donating because they want to donate and they want to help others. See, those are all the things that used to be there, and now it has become more like, oh, this much I have donated, or that much I have donated, or this much good I have done. I guess it is like nishkama karma. Do it, and you don't have to mention it to everyone, because there is God above, or there is, I wouldn't say God, there is superior power above you that will look after you. And well, you don't even have to think that you will get something in return. Yeah, Kumari auntie Chappandi. Yeah, I think we're koncha, you have to come near to the microphone and talk. And
Okay. Can you hear me now?
yes.
Yeah. I was telling you about the children, or children grow up without facing the other side of the coin, that is the poverty that exists in this land. And they need to be exposed a little bit by, you can take them to Salvation Army during Christmas time, and let them pass the gifts. You can volunteer, the children can volunteer, and they can come across the people, the same age children who are struggling for food, who are struggling for toys. The Salvation Army every year during Christmas time, they have 2 or 3 days for giving out the gifts. And you can take your children and neighbors' children or anybody, go with them and participate in that. So they will be slowly exposed to this, and when they are of eligible age, you can take them to soup kitchens, and you can take them to some volunteer work, and slowly introduce them to the other side of the, so they have to know the poverty.
I totally agree with you on that, auntie, because
as a
I mean, it is,
as a human being, you need to see the other humanity. If that, I hope you will introduce. And another thing, I didn't mention so far, but I was, we all came here because of civil rights. Before civil rights, there no non-Europeans were not allowed to get immigrant
let's
visa,
discuss on the point that you talked about, auntie. About
citizenship.
the auntie.
Okay,
Let's
citizenship.
discuss one point at a time.
I'm getting to that point. So only
No, about the children, let's discuss about that because that is very
okay,
important
go
point.
ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and then after that we'll go to the second point.
Okay. Does anybody
Yeah.
else have input on the children?
Yeah, I wanted to say something here. We already teach our kids, like wherever we are, whenever we are going to temples, we teach them, and we are going, like we give donations to pet centers wherever they find it for their birthdays. And I share one thing for my kid. He's a teenager. He gets pocket money. He never spend his pocket money on himself. He always get the things for others.
That's
So
really
this is, I say, we are like, and today's kids are more sensitive than us and more understandable than us. So don't worry that we should not worry about our kids, like we should teach them all these things. They are all very high learned souls. What I understand, this is just my perspective. I don't know for others.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you on that, Disha, in the sense like some kids are really kind-hearted, definitely. I mean, like they want to do, or they want to help others. And for some kids, I guess they need to be exposed. And our country meaning US, because we are staying in US. So that also gives us the opportunity to do the community hours that are needed to clear your high school. So that is also one way of exposing kids to the humanity or charitable work that we need to do. And to Kumari's auntie's point of view, I just want to mention one of our friend's son. Like when we were in India, he, like that kid, he's an athlete. He used to go to train, and then the coach used to come in the bus, and then the kid will ask, how come he can't take a bike or a car and come? They don't even know that much because they cannot afford.
Yeah.
Right. I guess as Kumari auntie mentioned, like if because they have been fortunate to have everything that they have asked for or everything that they want, and exposing them to these kind of charities, like going into the soup kitchen, or like the old age home, or anything that people will be, I mean the kids will be like, oh, these are all the people also are there out there who needs help. I think that exposing to that side of it also is very important. I mean, as I said, like it just goes from kid to kid and from person to person, like how as a parent we know what we need to do. And this is if anybody wants to add, please do it. If not, we can go to the next topic.
Yeah,
I
so
I
exposing.
want to make another point.
Kumari auntie, Deepika wanted to add the point on this. Let's listen to her and then we'll add another.
I just want to tell they only follow what we do. So we just have to be an example, set an example by doing ourselves. Then they will see us and do it. Because when we tell them or teach them, they don't do anything. We only have to be an example for them, set an example. They see us and they learn from us. So it's not for the kids, it is the learning for us. So
Very true.
I
Very
agree.
true.
I agree
Very
with you,
true.
Deep.
Totally with you on that. Yeah.
And what I would like to say here is every kid has that empathy in them. I think it is only when it is touched, when it gets touched, or what incident, by which incident it gets revoked, or that thing blossoms. Every kid has that empathy in them.
Yeah. True. Very true.
Okay. Can I add something?
Yes, Kumari auntie.
Yeah. Every kid has empathy, but don't wait for the provocation. And another thing is, don't do it for just credit. For just because it is needed in high school, don't do it. They have to feel it. You have to you have to expose them so they can feel it. They can be provoked. That is my point.
Agreed.
Everybody
Agreed,
has
auntie.
empathy
Very
in it,
true.
and just for credit, don't. It is not genuine. Do you understand what I'm saying?
See,
it is not
there
genuine.
are,
It doesn't come from
there
their
are
heart.
different aspects. What you said is true. Like you
Different.
have to provoke. You have to provoke
Yeah,
the kid.
you
That
have
is
to
one thing.
provoke.
And
Yeah,
sometimes when the opportunities or situations doesn't arise, what I'm saying is like there is, if we don't provoke, or if this family
not
situation
you don't
doesn't do
provoke.
it, then
You don't provoke it. You expose to these things that they would be provoked. Do you feel the difference? You don't say that you have to give it to this charity, you have to give it to that. Don't force them. Don't make them provoke. You expose them to different situations like old age people home or soup kitchen or Salvation Army or wherever there is a need in the society, like cleaning up the lakes or whatever, EPA programs and all those things. Whatever they will choose, they will choose. Give them the freedom where they are, where it touches their heart. Don't don't put your hand in it.
Agreed, auntie.
Let them choose.
Yes,
Thank
very true. Very true. Thank you. Yeah. So I had one thing to add. So is this the time, or is there any more sharing? Like anyone wants to add anything?
I want to add something too, but I can add after.
Sure.
Go
no,
ahead.
but if it is related to this topic, you go, Vindhyaji.
Yeah, it is related to this.
Then you go ahead, because mine is a different one. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to thank Disha. You did a great job. Lovely topic and very touching. And thank you all of your inputs, Auntie. You too. I read one. It's a sharing that I got, and it really touched me. And I thought it was very apt for this occasion. So I'm just mentioning. It's a small anecdote. A lady is going to the grocery store or something. She parks the car, and across the road she sees this, like Disha mentioned, a homeless man or someone, and he's not asking for anything. He's just sitting. So she just goes, finishes her grocery, comes back, and he's still there, and she like doesn't know what to do. So she just approaches him and says, do you need any help? And his answer is what touched me and her also. He says, don't we all? So I think that is something we all need to think about, right? We all need help in some way or the other. We should never feel like we are better than someone else or anything. Thank you. That's all.
Wow, that is so profound. Yeah.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
You left us speechless, Vindhyaji.
It left me speechless too. There's nothing else to say when you say don't we all?
Yes.
And it was just 3 words. And I was like, we all need to hear that. That's why I said.
It's true. Thank you so much for telling that, sharing here.
Thank you.
And what I thought, when Deepika, she was talking about monks, right? And going around for alms. Incidentally, yesterday I was listening to Deepak Chopra and Oprah Winfrey's interview. And Deepak Chopra said a couple of years ago, he went to, I don't know which country, Nepal or Tibet or somewhere. And for a year or for some time, he shaved his head, shaved his eyebrows, everything, and stayed with them for maybe a month, I guess. And he was on barefoot, going around that village for alms, and he can have food only once in a day. And also, as what all Deepa was talking, then I remembered that interview. After everything, when Oprah asked, what is your learning from that, or what do you feel after that experience? What do you feel? So he said, I felt that humility in me, because it is so hard. He is a very wealthy person, I guess, right, Deepak Chopra, to go around asking for alms. And that too on barefoot, and as such, only having meal once in a day. He said, it gave me an opportunity to go inner, because other than that, they were only doing meditation, I guess. So, he could explore himself much better at that time. So I guess maybe sadhus who are asking for alms, I think so, they're not asking because they don't have other ways to get it. It's only to bring out the humility in themselves, I guess.
I think
And-
that is that we can say to shed the ego also when yeah, because
Yes, Patricia says the same thing. Correct.
I was about to say
Yeah.
something. Yes.
It sheds the ego in any person, I guess, to ask alms, because you have everything, right? Like we when we go willfully to ask alms, it is so hard. Sometimes for charity also, I remember one of our friend Nainaji, she said when they wanted to build a temple, or I don't remember, they were going asking for money to each and every house. They were knocking on the door and asking. It was so hard because some people, they just shut the door on them, or they are rude to them, or everyone has a different point of view, and some people think they are genuine, some people don't think they are genuine, but even then they continuously went and knocked each and every door, and they collected money and built a temple. Vidyaji, did Nainaji say temple or something? I don't remember, but she said it was so hard, whenever people are shutting doors or them, or are being a little rude to them. It was so hot, and not, they people weren't even offering water, it seems sometimes. So
I guess that is very true, because I mean, in spirituality also, to ask for money, to ask for donations, you may have the money to give, but Patriji, as Deepika said, like like you have to ask for the money. That's when your ego kind of it's so difficult to ask money, the different for the donations. It is not at all easy. That's where the ego kicks in so much. How much ego you have.
Yeah, she said, I learned a lot. I learned to sort of patience, empathy, my ego, if at all, it had shed. So I guess,
Yeah, true. Kumari auntie wanted to add something. Auntie, you have to come near the microphone. Only we can hear.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you don't come near the microphone, there is a
Oh,
funny
no, I
noise
have
that
the
comes.
microphone, near me. It is very heartwarming to see all of you talking about this. Everybody is doing their own thing in their own way. That is very commendable. Though we don't, we are all well off. Some people think we are all well off, so what is the big deal? But to see young people thinking about this is really very heartwarming. And I wanted to tell you something before I started it. Can I say it now?
Sure, Andy. Yeah, I think you had second point to add on. Yes, please.
Yeah, because of the civil rights movement in 1965, we were all non-Europeans were also granted to come and get immigrant visa and eventually citizenship and all that, and we are able to raise our kids. Luckily, by God's grace, they are all doing fine academically and financially and personally also. The gates were opened because of the struggle of African American people. Lots of them lost their lives, but their generations are still behind the gate. The children are getting exposed to violence because there is no proper training or at home in a social structure, family structure, and economic structure, financial structure, academic structure is very poor in their backgrounds. So if you can coach a child to volunteer in schools where you can teach these children how to come up in life, that would be commendable. That would be really commendable. One child at a time is fine. If you have time, volunteer and in school setting, not in anywhere else, not to go to their home or anything like that. Only in school settings, volunteer. African American child, especially in middle school, they get lost after 4th grade or 5th grade. So try to inculcate them, be friendly, and take one child to some so they attain some vocational or technical training or higher
Auntie,
studies.
if there is any information about that, definitely share it in the group. If people want to
I
have
don't
more,
know. Every school district is different.
yeah,
Every
but I guess
city school.
it is difficult, or it is like time consuming, because you know what you are looking for. And if you can find it in the internet and forward it to the group, if people want to help, definitely we would see what any, I mean, like, we can do. That would be
Okay.
helpful. Yeah.
I don't want to say anything personally, but I founded a scholarship foundation to gear towards these kids. After high school, we give either tuition or textbooks. Even if they get Pell Grant scholarship, we give money for textbooks, because until then they get free textbooks, free tuition, and free transportation. After high school, they don't get free lunch, they don't get free transportation, and they don't get free textbooks. So even if they get other scholarships, we give them money for free textbooks so they can use their other money for other things. So there is a way, if you can look into it in your school districts. I will try to find out, but each school district is different. So I don't want to generalize. I don't know about other states, how they go about
So
it.
then why don't you give the information of your school district that is there, and then if people, it doesn't matter whether it's our school district or your school district, it matters whether we are helping the people or not. So
Yeah,
maybe
usually the after school programs will be there for tutoring. Usually tutoring is there.
that's what I'm
After
saying,
school
Andy.
programs
That's what I'm
are
saying. Forward the information of what you have in your
okay.
school district, and then they will make a decision,
Yeah,
because that is what it is, right? I mean, let's not take too much time on that, but definitely it's a very good, I mean, like, initiation that we can do. But let's have some details, then we can talk about it. Maybe
okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Andy.
Bye.
So guys, we have 4 more minutes. If anybody wants to add anything other than people who have been talking. Sonam, do you want to add anything, or Uncle? Please go ahead. After that, we'll end the session.
One thing I've been thinking, and while listening to everyone, is that like how we prefer different charity and different way of helping people. I feel it's also related to what we are here to learn in this lifetime, because based on the experience I have in my childhood, I decide like, okay, this is something, which, people go through and I want to help them. And it's so different for everyone. Like the way they want to help, the institutions they believe in is different as well. So I think it's very much related to what lessons you are here to learn as well.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you on that, Sonam. It all depends on, like, where your heart, or where you want to feel like helping, or where you want to put your effort for you to get that life's experience. Yeah.
Very true.
Uncle, ఏంటి అంకుల్ క్వైట్ గా ఉన్నారు?
ఏం లేదమ్మా, పుస్తకం టాపిక్ కాకుండా ఇంకెక్కడికో దానం మీదకి పోతూ ఉన్నాం కదా అని చెప్పని రకరకాలుగా ఐఎమ్ షూర్ దట్ వీ ఆల్ ట్రై టు హెల్ప్ లాట్ ఆఫ్ అదర్ వే. ఆల్దో దానం చేసిన దానం చెప్పుకుంటే దాని ఫలితం పోతుందంట.
అవును, కరెక్ట్. గుప్త దానం చేయాలి.
రైట్.
తెలుగు, ఇంగ్లీష్ అంకుల్, ఇంగ్లీష్.
అపాత్ర దానం, ఇట్ ఈస్ సాంస్క్రిట్ బేసికల్లీ. గుప్త దానం And apatra danam, that means you give it to a fellow who is already eaten his food, some more food. It is only, a fascination that you are giving. Coming back to the topic that we talked, I think Madhu raised an important author's name. I think, see, Chopra is a very renowned author, written scores of books, and I think he is very, very rich. What he wanted to do is personally experience the monkhood and live, I think, for more than 1 year, truly living like a monk, how it will be before writing his book. So that's the experience that she was describing, just for the audience, others. And please try to read his philosophy and tolerance for other religions from Hinduism, and how he compares Hinduism with Christianity at a lot of other steps. He's a very good author.
Yes, he
So
is.
I will
He is
just
amazing, amazing amazing soul. That, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
I
and
follow very blindly. Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I thought I'll add.
I guess
Nothing.
he didn't have to go through when he was young. He didn't have to go through all the sufferings and things like that. So he wants to experience his monk life,
Right.
to go through what it really, I mean, like, listening is different from going through stuff. So I think that's what Chopra has done. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I'll just bring that out. And also one more thing, the monasteries, most of the time, according to Hindu ashrama dharmas, sadhus or sannyasis or whoever so goes for begging, they are restricted for 5 houses each time. That means once in the morning, once in the evening, and whatever they get within those 5 houses, if they get nothing, they are expected to starve, thinking that God's will is that. So they were not allowed to go to many places until they get their ball full or something like that.
Yeah, I guess we have to get to that stage. I don't know.